Live now to the United Kingdom. A protest is planned at Oxford University in the United Kingdom today in a bid to remove the statue of the controversial colonial figure Cecil Rhodes. Protests are planned in front of the statue, which is located outside Oriel College in the city's High Street. Protesters are arguing that Oxford University has failed to address its institutional racism. Covering that story for us this lunchtime, correspondent Ollie Barrett. Good afternoon to you. Ollie, maybe before we talk about the protest, let's talk about the provenance, if we can. It all started with the toppling of the slave trader Edward Colston's monument, I think in Bristol, that led to all of this. Am I correct?
That's exactly right, Jeremy. That took place on Sunday. Edward Colston, a 17th century slave trader who is crucial to the history of Bristol, the city in the west of England, but was also a man that was responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of slaves and for the shipping of tens of thousands of slaves from Africa to the Caribbean, has always been a controversial figure in modern Bristol, and his statue in Bristol has been deeply controversial as a result. And demonstrators in Bristol on Sunday took it upon themselves to pull that statue down, and that has led to a re-examining of exactly how to address many of these statues and monuments and street names up and down the UK which have links to the slave trade, to empire, to some of Britain's military adventures, which are now viewed in a rather different way than they were closer to the time that they actually took place. So yes, that is exactly why we're now looking again at Cecil Rhodes. You'll remember that back in 2015-2016, the Rhodes Must Fall movement came to the UK after what took place in South Africa, but at the time Oriel College decided in 2016 not to take the statue down. Well, that debate is now very much alive once again.
In what way is the Rhodes Must Fall campaign saying that Oxford University has failed to address institutional racism?
Well, partly by leaving the statue up. Now, Oriel College also denies claims which surfaced after the fact that it decided to keep Cecil Rhodes where he is in Oxford back in 2016. They denied that was because they were worried about some of the donors to the college and to the university more widely reconsidering some of their donations. Of course, Cecil Rhodes himself gave a huge amount of money to Oriel College. Oxford University benefited from his funding very much after the period in which he returned to the United Kingdom. Now, there is a group of councillors in Oxford who have backed the idea of the statue coming down. They say that Oxford University now needs to decolonise, in their words, and they've signed a letter saying that the statue at Oriel College is incompatible with the City of Oxford's commitment to anti-racism. So it's not just about the college, it's not just about the university, it's about the city, and the city itself appears to be taking a stronger position on this matter now than it did back in 2015-2016. We've also had a couple of the local members of parliament now backing the campaign to remove the statue as well. So it does appear that there is more momentum behind the protesters and the demonstrators who want this statue to come down than there was 3 or 4 years ago.
And just a quick one, Ollie. This protest, has it started, or when will it start, and what sort of crowds are expected?
It starts at 6 p.m. South Africa time, 5 p.m. UK. I think we're expecting a reasonably sizable turnout. I mean, one of the things that may affect that is, of course, that the students aren't at university at the moment because of the coronavirus lockdown restrictions. So maybe that will affect numbers, but plenty of people are saying they're going to be out protesting peacefully and not, by the way, returning to where we started, planning to pull the statue down like we saw in Bristol at the weekend.
Ollie Barrett is our correspondent in the United Kingdom.